G'day there, this is Holy Critic signing in. And I want to start out today's video with a question for you. When was the last time you saw a movie at the cinemas? For me, it was about a year ago. I saw the sequel to The Shining, Doctor Sleep. And of course, I couldn't not see a movie that was the sequel to the greatest horror movie of all time, directed by the greatest director of all time, Stanley Kubrick. But you know, upon a rewatching, it really pales in comparison. Movies these days, Hollywood, just rehashing former glory. Movies that were original, movies that dared to make you think, that challenged you. Movies today, let's be honest, they're boring. It's cookie cutter, it's playing it safe, boring. But this year's been very unique because there really hasn't been any blockbusters. In fact, I can't even think of one movie that came out this year that I thought, that's even worth seeing, let alone getting in my car and driving up to the movie theater to watch it. But there was one movie that kind of piqued my interest. Admittedly, I'm a fan of 007. I like watching the Bond series. And Daniel Craig, I think, is a pretty good actor, you know. He doesn't compare with Pierce Brosnan, but that's just my 90s childhood nostalgia, I guess you'd call it. But there was a movie that was slated to release, I think either late this month or early November, and that's No Time to Die. This was touted to be the big one. This was like the Avengers of 2020. Well, 2020. I keep thinking we're in 2021 already. This was the big release. Starring Daniel Craig. It was a big blockbuster. How much was the budget? $250 million budget. Huge movie, right? The only other one that competed with this movie was another one directed by Christopher Nolan called Tenet. Some sort of science fiction time travel, which I have to admit is a pet peeve of mine. I hate time travel movies. Except for Terminator 2. That one kind of got it right, but not too many to list off the top of my head. But this movie, as of yesterday, poof, gone, off the schedule. I'll just read you this article. The premiere for No Time to Die had already been moved from April to November this year due to the pandemic. However, it's now been further delayed up until the 2nd of April 2021. In quotes, in order to be seen by a worldwide theatrical audience, according to MGM, who make the movie. We understand the delay will be disappointing to our fans, but we now look forward to sharing it with you next year. And what was the reason for that? Well, as we go on, industry insiders have been speculating whether the studio would stand by the November release, following lackluster box office returns for the Christopher Nolan blockbuster Tenet, which was released last month. The sci-fi epic, which cost approximately $200 million to make, has so far made only $243 million internationally, 41 of which came from the US, which is incredibly low for, I mean, the US is the main market for movies, so when your movie only hits 41 million, when on a budget that big, you have to say it's a flop. And I mean, that's Christopher Nolan. He's one of the, I'll say, the top 3 directors of the modern era. So it's been a terrible year, I think we can all admit. But what is the consequence? Why did I title this video James Bond could end cinema as we know it. Well, the very next day after that announcement, Regal Cinemas, which is I think it's the biggest or the second biggest cinema chain in the US, completely closed 543 theaters indefinitely after losing $1.64 billion in the first half of the year due to the crisis, the pandemic. Wow. So now it's getting to the point where studios aren't releasing movies and nobody's going to the cinemas because there are no movies to watch. And this little vicious cycle is resulting in huge bankruptcies. And I can't see, I mean, let's be honest, the cinema chains were already kind of going downhill. I watch maybe 1 or 2 movies a year, and I'm a movie buff. I used to watch maybe up to 10 movies a year. It's gone downhill. There's no real movies that are worth your time any longer. You watch the Academy Awards, what is it? I can't, you ask me right now, I can't remember the last 5 movies that won Best Picture. Or because they were instantly forgettable, or I never saw them. Because they were, well, I won't go down that road, but let's just say Hollywood likes to pick diverse movies these days. But not the best movie, but the most diverse, if you get my point. So the consequence, if you think about it, is we're in this death spiral. Movies, not only in the US, but the UK, Ireland, probably Australia. I mean, I've never heard of Regal Cinema or Cineworld, but you guys at home might have. Just think, next year, is it going to get any better? Is the situation going to improve? It's just barren. The movie market is completely barren right now. And I don't know how you're going to get bums in seats if you got nothing decent to show. This could spell the end. I mean, Hollywood deserves it. I think we can all agree, but this is the end. Unbelievable. It says here, Cineworld, which is the UK variant of it, it will put up to 5,500 jobs at risk. I wonder how many in the US. Because this is the human cost of all this. Forget about Hollywood; they're already overpaid assholes and wankers anyway. But look at this: the Regal Cinema owner, which began reopening in July after COVID-19 lockdown restrictions started to ease, employs 37,000 people across all their venues. Those people are about to be put out of a job indefinitely. Jeez, that's pretty sad. And I had a bit of a soft spot for the cinema. It's an experience, but it's just not worth my time any longer. And the more I think about it, James Bond, probably the oldest movie franchise. I think, unless you guys can correct me in the comments, started, 1960? Been going on this whole time. James Bond broke the back of cinema. It's all over, folks. But maybe they'll let you go back if you get your Bill Gates shot. Maybe they'll let you go back to the cinema again. Would you do it for that cost? Take your Bill Gates... I'm sorry, I'm being so stupid. I hope YouTube doesn't see that bit. Please, guys, share your thoughts in the comments below. Are you happy about this? Do you care? Do you not care? I mean, most of you I pretty much know the answer to that question already, but it's kind of like your granddad, you know. You go and see him every once in a while, and it's sad when he passes away, but you know, it's all for the better. It all works for the good in the end. Cinema, dying, I'll shed a tear or two. I'll bury it, move on. And guys, that's all I got to say today. Enjoy the rest of your day, and this is Holy Critic signing out.